So we're still trying to find us a shooter goat, and we come up on this group and there is a really big buck in this herd. It's a big herd and they're bedded on the plains. It's sunny, it's warm, so and it's been cold for a few days, so they're not going anywhere. And we're trying to figure out how we can get up on them because again, it's so flat. So there's a big drop down into a valley right behind them. We don't really know how far exactly it is in comparison to the drop down in them, but we're gonna give it a shot. So we make the decision that we're gonna split up. I'm gonna go around with my bow and I'm gonna try to come up behind them and get a shot. And if they react and come the other way, maybe Chester and Drew will get an opportunity on the other side.
All right, here's the deal. We found some antelope. We sent Sam around because we've been watching them for a long time and they weren't really moving. So we sent him around. He's gonna poke up over the hill. He's probably gonna be 40 to 60 yards from these antelope.
And we're gonna be the backup crew. If he shoots, he's gonna head them our way. We may have to do a drive-by, but we're gonna try what we can.
Okay, so Drew and I, we come up this ravine and we are trying to, we can see these antelope bedded all out here, and we know exactly where Sam is going to try to come up from the other side. And so Drew and I are trying to make a plan that if Sam does spook these antelope, we know that they have ran through this area. The biggest puzzle piece is, are we at the exact point where they're going to run through so that I may get a shot? So that's our game plan.
I didn't realize how far of a walk this was. I walked around, down, and then back up to get behind them. I probably walked over a mile, and it took me felt like a long time to get around there. And I know Chester probably thinks the same thing since he was waiting on me. But I walk around and I'm trying to figure out, I don't know exactly where they are, so I'm trying to figure out, okay, how am I gonna know where to come up out of this valley? So I just pick a spot, kind of guesstimate it and pick a spot, and it was perfect. I came up in the exact spot that I wanted to, and bedded the closest to me is the buck that I'm after.
All right, here's the situation. We're up on this hill. Antelope are way down over here. Sam walked all the way back to the truck up there. And he's gonna go down around the backside of this hill. And go kill this big one.
So Drew and I are sitting here watching Sam sneak around this edge of this canyon, and we can see Sam's head pop up and down every once in a while. It's actually kind of funny. And from our perspective, Sam is sticking out like a sore thumb. He looks like he's standing out in the middle of this pasture just kind of waving his arms. But I guess that he's hidden pretty well from the other side because these antelope are just laying there. They're grazing. Some of them are grazing, some of them are laying there. And we don't have any way to communicate with Sam because the phone service really stinks up there. And Drew and I are actually over there on the other side going, what in the heck is this guy doing? He's standing out like a sore thumb. He looks like an idiot out there. They're gonna bust him.
They were bedded in the sage, buck and several does, some smaller bucks, but he was bedded broadside, facing away from me. And so he's about 250 yards out. So I still had a little ways to go. I was comfortable with a 100-yard shot. So here we go. I started crawling. I'd crawl 20, 30 yards. I pop up, get a range, look around, make sure we were still good, and I keep going. I did this, I don't even know how long I did it, but it felt like forever. I finally am starting to think, we're getting there. We're almost to my range. And he stands up. He never looks at me. He never reacts to my presence. He's still facing away, and he just starts walking away. I ranged him, he was 127 yards.
So Sam finally, we're watching with a binocular, so it's like we're sitting right in the living room watching television show, watching Sam try to sneak up on these antelope. So Sam is literally on his hands and knees crawling through cactus, sagebrush, all this stuff. And man, from our perspective, where we were, it looked like Sam was gonna jump on one of these things back and ride it over to us because he looked that close. But obviously he wasn't. And we keep seeing Sam pop up and down, taking range, and we're like, man, me and Drew we're excited. We're like, dude, he's fixing to fling an arrow. He's fixing to let the air out of something. And he just keeps doing it. And we start getting frustrated on our side going, just shoot the guy, shoot him.
And of course you have that thought, should I try it? Should I just fling an arrow and let one go? And I made the decision not to. There's a part of me that really wishes I had, because that could have been my buck for the trip up there. But the smart hunter in me knows that that was the right decision to make, because that's a shot distance-wise that I've never made before. And the last thing I want to do is wound an animal. So I made the right call.
Sam ends up getting spotted and gets busted. Well, here they come. And so Drew and I are sitting there, all right, here we go, here they come. Well, they miss us by about 75 yards, and there's no way that Drew and I could get over there fast enough. These things are fast. And I missed my opportunity as well.
All right, well, things almost worked. Sam almost got a shot. I don't know if he even saw the ones that were really close to him. Chester and I got within 100 yards of a really nice buck. Guessed the wrong spot to be when he was crossing the ridge, but maybe next time.
So I meet back up with Chester and Drew after this is all said and done. And they're like, dude, why didn't you shoot? And I'm like, what are y'all talking about? And they said, you were right on top of them. They were right there next to you. They were walking back and forth right next to you. I'm like, no, they weren't. It turns out there's this little rise off to my left, about 100 yards to my left. And right on the other side of that rise, there was a whole big group of them and another shooter buck right there. And they were just walking around. And from Chester and Drew's perspective, several hundred yards away, they can't see that rise. They just see me, and then they see the antelope. So they're thinking that I'm sticking out there like a sore thumb, when really I'm on my belly crawling through the sage, and I can't even see these antelope when I'm actually crawling. So that just goes to show you the difference when you're on one side looking at everything from a far out distance. Stuff looks different. It's hard to tell distance, it's hard to tell depth, and it's hard to tell terrain. But when you're actually in it, it's a completely different ball game.